For most people that go on the carnivore diet, they seem to have miraculous stories. However, there are a few mistakes that people make which hinders them from achieving all their goals. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the 5 most common mistakes that I see beginners make. Now, the first mistake I see people make is that they're eating too many calories. Now, in the carnivore space, there are a lot of people that like to claim that calories don't matter on carnivore. And to a point, they're somewhat correct. When you go on the carnivore diet, the inflammation from your body clears itself, which means your cells are able to function better and they produce more energy. Now, this is incredibly tangible. Almost every single person that goes on the carnivore diet reports how their energy levels just skyrocket to an unbelievable level. Now, with this increased energy, what ends up happening is people are more enthusiastic when they talk, they pot around the house more. At night time, instead of sitting down and watching Netflix, they decide to go for a little walk. Now, this is what's known as NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, this may sound inconsequential. However, NEAT can be increased by up to like 2,000 calories per day simply by having this extra energy. For most people, your NEAT is not going to increase by 2,000 calories, but I would speculate that it would go up by at least 500 to 1,000 calories for the average person. And then there's also the argument that our bodies are an open thermodynamic system and that we're not combustion engines. Now, once again, they are completely correct in saying this. If you have a diet of 2,000 calories of chocolate cake and ice cream, and you have a diet of 2,000 calories of pure ribeye steak, after a month of doing this, you're going to see two very different physiques. So a calorie is not a calorie. And the type of calories you consume does affect your calories out, as I just presented with the NEAT example. So in a way, all these experts are correct. However, fat is stored energy. And what is a calorie? A calorie is a measurement of energy. When you eat less energy than you burn, your body taps into its fat for energy. And when you consume more energy than your body uses, it stores it as energy. So although it's very complicated, this whole calories in, calories out idea, at the end of the day, if you consume more calories than you burn, you're going to end up gaining weight. So what happens is a lot of people will go on the carnivore diet, they'll hear this calories don't matter concept, and then they'll go all out. They'll have their coffee in the morning and they'll put friggin' an entire thing of cream in it, and then for dinner they'll make their beef patties and put enough cheese on it to feed a local village. So then they get disheartened and they go, oh, carnivore doesn't work for me, and they go off it. Now, I know I've said it about a minute ago, but I want to emphasize this once again. Your metabolism will increase, as well as the fact that your hunger hormones are going to regulate themselves. First of all, you're not having carbohydrates, which blocks your leptin, which is the hormone that tells you you're full. As well as the fact your blood sugar's not spiking up and down all day, you become fat adapted, meaning when you run out of calories, you can tap into your own body fat without being hungry, and the fact that meat itself is just incredibly satiating. Now, for these reasons and many more, it makes it a lot harder to overeat on carnivore, which is why I say to people, you don't even need to count calories on carnivore. So for all these reasons, it's going to be a lot easier to stick to a carnivore diet, and it's going to be a lot easier to lose weight on it than you would with a regular diet. But to some degree, calories do matter. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The second mistake I see people make is very similar to the first mistake, is that they consume too much dairy. Now, I've talked about this in many videos, and I'm not going to go on because I don't want to sound like the dairy police. However, dairy is a massive hindrance to a number of people's weight loss. First of all, we can just think about it logically. Dairy is designed to make you grow. And so that means for anyone watching this over the age of 20, you've probably stopped growing up. So if dairy is designed to make you grow and you've stopped growing up, there's only one way you can grow, and that's wide. Now, I've made an entire video breaking down all the mechanisms of dairy and how it makes you fat, which I'll link to at the end of this video. The next mistake I see people make is that they go half in. What will happen is they'll go a week and they'll see tremendous weight loss and they'll go, oh, you know what? I deserve to reward myself, which makes absolutely no sense. What do you mean reward yourself? You've just gone all week working hard, treating your body the way it deserves to be treated. You're feeling amazing, you've lost all this weight, and then you want to go and give it some more of the poison? So what ends up happening is when you start the diet back up again the next week, your brain is constantly thinking about how much dopamine it got from the pizza. All of a sudden, meat doesn't have the same appeal, you're thinking about cheating, and for some people, that's enough for them. They end up not being able to take it anymore midweek, and they completely slip off, and then, oh, I'll just have one more week off carnivore, and then next week I'll be good again. As well as the fact that you're re-inflaming your body. For the entire week, your body's essentially been detoxing from all this poison you've been giving it. Your energy levels are amazing. And now when you reward yourself with this poison, you damage all your cells again. For the next few days, you're not going to have the same energy. Your NEAT's going to be down. You're not going to be burning as many calories. And then when their weight loss plateaus, they go, well, why is it? I'm basically carnivore. So when you're considering breaking carnivore and eating some of this poison, you need to think to yourself, is 10-15 minutes of pleasure worth messing up my next week at least? However, in complete contrary to what I just said, This isn't a religion, so if at some point you want to have something that's not carnivore, you can do that. You just need to think to yourself, do the positives outweigh the negatives? It's entirely up to you, but if you do slip off, get straight back on it the next day. If you're starting carnivore, however, I highly recommend that for your first 30 days, you stay completely strict. You need to give at least 30 days so your body can clear all the inflammation, because if every weekend you keep going off it and you keep ruining it, you're never really going to know what it feels like to have zero inflammation. So consequently, you're not going to be able to experience the ridiculous energy level increase that most people see on carnivore and the neat benefits that come with it. Now, the next mistake I see people making is not having enough fat. For their entire lives, they've been told, fat makes you fat, when in reality, fat is what makes you full, so you don't overeat and you don't become fat. Fat from animals is a miracle food. Our brains need it to thrive. It's the best energy source we can possibly have, and it's what we require to feel amazing. If you do not consume enough fat, you're never going to feel completely satiated. Now, the reason for this is because when you only eat protein, your body realizes, well, hang on, if I don't get something else in, eventually I'm going to die. You can't survive on only protein. So as a result, it starts turning your energy levels down a bit so you can survive for longer without food. Because at the end of the day, our bodies don't know we have a supermarket up the road. They still think that food's scarce. They still think we're in caveman times. Now, if you've got quite a bit of fat on you, you may not notice this as much as someone who's leaner. But as you slowly start getting leaner, you'll notice that if you go too long without having a meal high in fat, you simply just don't feel yourself. So make sure you're having enough fat. I reckon the best ratio is somewhere between 50 and 70% of your calories coming from fat. Now, the fifth and final mistake, which is as crucial not to make as every other point on this list, is that you're not prioritizing ruminant animals. First of all, ruminant animals are the most nutrient-dense type of animal. One of the key aspects of satiety, which to those of you who don't know what that means, it means feeling full, is how many nutrients we're getting from the food we're eating. So if you're eating meats that are less nutrient-dense, you're going to have to eat more of the meat to feel full. And as we remember in point 1, if you eat too much, it's going to slow your weight loss down. You can eat the same amount, but you'll feel a lot more full eating ruminant animals than you would a non-ruminant animal. Now, the second aspect as to why ruminant animals are so important is that by very definition, ruminant animals have multi-chambered stomachs. Now, usually these animals are grass-fed anyway, which is their natural diet. However, even when they are grain-fed, because their digestive system is so complex, their meat stays pure and uninflammatory. However, other animals like chicken and pork who don't have this super complex digestive system, what ends up happening is they're often fed grains just full of absolute toxic slunge. I don't even know what half the stuff in it is. Seriously, Google online chicken feed. Have a look what's in that stuff. It's horrific. And like I said, these chickens, they don't have the complex digestive systems. So this absolute garbage that they eat, it ends up in their flesh, especially in their skin and their fat. So yeah, that wraps it up. The 5 most common mistakes I see people make when they begin a carnivore diet. Now, if there's something I've missed or you have more tips for people wanting to start the carnivore diet, leave them down below. This way, the people that are new to carnivore can see them and it will help them out a lot. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my content, consider subscribing down below. It's completely free and it means you'll see more videos like this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.